So there's two different federations. So there's like the USAPL and the USPA. The biggest difference is that the USPA holds untested meets. So like you can go there and there'll just be a bunch of dudes juiced out. There really wasn't, but they also pull on a deadlift bar. So like the tensile strength is less, so it actually bends. Those are like the bendy bars. Mm-hmm. Oh. So it's wicked fun to pull on, and it just kind of leverages a little bit differently. But they don't have a lot in New York State. So Connecticut was the closest. So we drove to Connecticut.
Whereabouts?
North Haven. It was in North Haven.
Yeah, I'm very familiar. I used to live in Hamden.
Okay, is that near there?
Next town over.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. But so they also do day before weigh-ins. So they weighed in on Friday and then competed on Saturday. So you can do like a water cut and then bloat back up. Normally like the USAPL, which is like a tested league, and they all have stiff bars. They do, it's like weigh-ins are at like 7 a.m. Lifting starts at 9. Okay. So you'll see people like self-IV at those meets. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's kosher? That's like...
Yeah, dude, it is all good. Like saline solution, blow back up. It's like this one dude one time, a little side tangent here, but he was competing and he collapsed at squats and he had to get carted out in one of the meets. I think that was like 2 years ago. That was one of the meets I did. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I think he said he cut like 35 pounds. Crazy.
Overnight? Or wait, what's the cutting period? Not overnight, but what's the cutting period?
So I mean, like my assumption would be he'd probably cut like 15 pounds and then water cut like 15 to 20. Okay. So he was just wicked dehydrated, couldn't get anything back, and then tried max lifting. Yeah, not the best idea.
I've never done that, but it sounds horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But so the USPA meet, this was the closest one in Connecticut.
Okay.
Sometimes there's ones in like New York City, but it's still just as far away. So we went down there. Nick found the meet. Corey wanted to compete again, so I texted Corey about it, and Brady did too.
Okay, so Nick, Corey, and Brady
all competed in this meet.
Competed, and you were the coach for those guys.
Correct. Yeah. I've been coaching Nick for over got to be like 2 years now.
Okay,
year and a half or so. Corey on and off since he kind of came to double plays back last April.
Oh, okay.
And then Brady, pretty much similar to Nick, about 2 years. And he's more of like a bro friend. So, yeah, so we went down to Connecticut. They weighed in on Friday. They all smoked it on Saturday. It was a sick gym. Like, they probably had, like, 10 different full power racks, so you could squat on each side. So, like, one of the biggest things with powerlifting meets, too, is warm-up rooms.
Okay.
So you have 50 competitors, right? Then you have, like, 3 different flights. So flight A would be, like, 15 people, flight B, and flight C. So they'd all do, like, squat 1, 2, and 3, then squat 1, 2, and 3 for flight B. Flight C would be squat 1, 2, and 3. So imagine trying to fit 15 guys or girls, 15 guys and girls, trying to warm up on 3 squat racks.
That sounds like mayhem.
Mayhem, 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this one probably had like 9 racks though. So it was awesome. So it was really good setup. It was cool. Nick went out there. I don't know their exact numbers off the top of my head, but he squatted, I think, in 540.
Holy moly. How old is he?
18.
Holy
I can pull up his exact numbers here in a second.
That's almost as much as Pat's airplane weighs.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Boy, squatting airplanes.
Corey got red lighted, but he almost hit 644 on his deadlifts.
18 years old.
Yeah, Nick went for 644. He pulled only like just over 600. I'm just pulling up their actual numbers.
Yeah, what does...
Yeah, that's a light day for me.
What's his ceiling? Yeah.
So cool thing, the younger...
Sounds like my warm-up.
The younger you start in training, the like higher the ceiling is.
Okay.
So that's why like if you see... I mean, look at kids in the Olympics. Look at people in the Olympics. They start training at the age of like 6.
Yeah,
you're not going to see somebody who starts training at the age of 16 go to the Olympics. I mean, you probably will if they're a freak, but...
So is the biology of that because when you're doing it so young, your muscles can kind of grow to exactly what you need?
I'm not entirely sure. I would probably assume it's more of a motor learning thing. So like the more proficient at a skill you can get earlier on, the sooner you can load. The sooner you can load, the sooner you can keep loading, essentially. Okay. And like then you can expose yourself to just so many different variations. So it's not like you just do barbell squats. So let's say somebody gets 12 years old, starts goblet squatting with a dumbbell.
Okay.
Gets really proficient with it. Maybe they're squatting a 50 6 months later. That's about the weight of a bar. Barbell is 45. then do them with front squats. Now they're 15, squatting 135, maybe even more. And then you can just keep going. And then if you expose them to so many variations, they're going to get really, really good at squatting.
Yeah.
Right? So you have like 10 different variations.
No, man.
The earlier on you do that versus now, let's say 20 years old, you're trying to do it. You already have poor movement patterns.
Bad habits.
You're older. That window for you to learn it is probably going to be a little bit longer, unless you're like a prior D1 athlete and stuff like that. But even then, they probably started at like 12, 14 years old.
Right.
But
yeah, the reason I asked was because in like men's fast pitch softball, they do. You'll see all these guys coming up from Argentina, and they all throw really hard, and they're all like 20. You're like,
yeah, dude.
Like, yeah, I've been throwing since I was like 4, 5, 6.
Exactly.
So I think with like probably with weights, it's technique is more important. But I think that there's something about the fatigue in certain muscles that grows.
Oh yeah.
With your fibers from a young age all the way up makes you throw so much harder.
Well, you just become more resilient to that motor, that movement, right?
Right.
So actually, correction, he squatted 561.
Oh,
that was for the state record in New York, and he broke it before that at 529. Yeah, so he broke it on his second attempt, then solidified it on his third.
No way.
Is this for an age group or
18-19?
So
18-2.
So he shattered the record.
Oh yeah. He did the same thing in the USAPL last August. I think it was last August. So he competed in the USAPL last August for the state record in there too, for the teen 16, 17.
Yeah, so usually when it comes to like weightlifting, I would assume that the records being broken are like similar to like what the world record for like the mile would be. If somebody breaks it, it's like by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
This guy, like he shattered it.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it was insane.
That's
what was the difference?
40-pound difference. Well, no, he broke it at 529. You said.
Yeah, so he broke it at 529, but he only like chipped it, so it might have been like 527.
But
And then he went to 529, and it moved insanely easily.
But
I'll
then
pull up the videos for you
he
guys in a
lifted
second.
560, so he broke it by at least 40 pounds.
Yeah. And his prior heaviest squat, I think he may have doubled 525 in training.
Wow.
And that was probably like 3-4 weeks out. That was when he hit his last heaviest squat.
So is he just like, is he got a ton of potential or what? How do you break the record by 40 pounds?
So the biggest thing with him, so I actually, in early 2021 is when I first met him. And so he was probably like a freshman in high school. And I held a squat and deadlift clinic at Double Play. And this is kind of like where it got birthed, the squat and deadlift clinic. And I tried getting it to stick, but apparently nobody wants to learn how to squat and deadlift, indoor lift. I just at a clinic. I started it because the college athletes were home, and I'd see them squatting and deadlifting. I was like, that looks atrocious. Let me help you, but nobody wants. But
it was probably me. Yeah.
But
I could pass for a college kid still.
You probably could. You shave the beard, you know.
Yeah,
when you're a few years younger.
Oh yeah.
But it's hard to sometimes sell people on training like that, especially if they're guys, because men have this ego where they don't want to learn, and I'm also hardly 5'6", and I was like 160 pounds then. Not the biggest dude. So anyways, Nick was one of the people who actually did it. Nick and Brady were two of them back in 21. And I remember teaching him how to deadlift on like a 40-pound kettlebell. Okay. Fast forward 3.5 years later, kid's deadlifting 600 pounds. That's a perfect example of starting early. Yeah. And
how many years?
That was over the course of 3 years, basically 3.5.
So he started when he was like 15.
Yeah, I would probably 14, 15, because I know he was lifting in his mom's house, basically at his house. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
breaking the record by 40 pounds seems nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy, and he was in the younger age, so he was 18. He still has a whole 365 days to break it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it's 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you go up to juniors, which is, I would assume, 20 to 23. I know the cap is 23. And then after that, you just enter the open, which is anybody and everybody.
Okay.
And he came in second in the open division at this meet.
Wow.
Corey came in first by a few kilos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kilos, what are those?
Yeah. No, we're in America. It's freedom weights, pounds, freedom units.
I just heard somebody say that. Like, a couple weeks ago, it was the first time I ever heard that. Those are the freedom units of measurement.
Dude, and it's such a trip too when you go up to a bar and there's only like 3 reds on it, but it's like 400 pounds when it's only 315.
Right.
You have like 3 plates.
The plate color.
Yeah. Well, because they're kilos. They're 25s.
Yeah.
25
opposed
kilos.
to 20 kilos, which is a 45-pound plate.
Yeah. So my plates at home, for some reason, they're in pounds, but they're 44 pounds, 22 pounds,
What?
11 pounds, and 5 pounds. Do you know why?
Cheap?
Yeah, is that how they used to do it back in the day?
No,
So yeah, these are really, really old weights. I have no idea where they came from, but like I do my like, your progressive overload is like 2.5 pounds, so it's like 5-pound increments. Mm-hmm. So then one day I realized this plate says 44 pounds. So I'm actually lifting way less than I thought.
Oh,
because the 25 pound is actually a 22-pound plate. Yeah, it got me wondering like why are my 25-pound plates saying 22 and the 45 say 44? I mean, 10s or 11s.
So there's generally like a standard across the board on like the width of a 45-pound plate, which it should be. Mm-hmm. But if you go to different gyms, they're all different. So I was training one of my clients. He was going into his freshman year of college. This was 4.5, 5 years ago at NAS, and they got a brand new weight room, brand new center. Legit stoked. It didn't open for 2 weeks into the semester, but the 45s were about the size of a 35. So he couldn't even lift on them. So he had to go get a membership at a local Y.
Yeah.
So they were like inch and a half.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So the
displacement,
and
deadlifting even. Anything off the ground is different. You can't do that.
You're basically just deficit deadlifting the entire time.
Center of gravity and stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but.
And it's so wild that like this $1 billion college or $1 million college
got the wrong weights. Bought their weights off of Temu.
Imagine. I mean, you go to there's other like legit.
That's probably where you got yours, Nick.
Yeah, maybe.
That's old school Temu. There we go.
Old school before the internet.
You went straight to Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, like the meet went stellar. So like Nick crushed that. He also got the state record total too. So between squat, bench, and deadlift, lifting the most. He actually just sent me a picture of the actual certificate that it got. It's messaged.
Would we have to have a bigger table to have him on too?
Oh yeah, 100%. He weighed in at. I'll tell you.
Well, all those guys are massive. Like I've never seen Nick in person. Brady is probably. I remember seeing Brady at the gym one time. I think he was deadlifting. I've seen him squat, and he squats heavy, but I saw him. He was doing like some kind of max deadlift thing where he was going for a PR.
Probably.
And everybody in the gym stopped and watched him. I mean, that dude's quad. I don't know if I've seen bigger quads ever in my life.
Oh yeah,
like, he's a freak.
Because he's like 5'7", 5'8", maybe.
Yeah,
but he weighed in at the meet at 223. He was really heavy at the meet. Wow. He normally we're gonna try and get him down a little bit more, but he would generally walk around. I would say between like right around like 205 or so.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
But I mean, like Nick, so I just have these in kilos. I just have a spreadsheet from all my powerlifting athletes. He weighed in at 98.4 keys. So that's probably like 217. And the same with Corey. Corey weighed in slightly lighter. Weighed in at 98.2, so just a little lighter. Mm-hmm. But, and it's all weight class divisions and whatnot, but Corey came in first. He absolutely smoked everything as well. His training, all of these guys only were training 4 days a week. They would generally squat twice, deadlift once, bench twice.
There's the answer.
Yeah, there it is.
How many days a week do I have to work out? No more than 4.
3-4 days a week. Yeah, I mean, 5 days if you can fit it in, but it's really just kind of like based around your schedule. I mean, obviously, if you plan for 5 days but you only get 4, then you're missing a whole grouping of exercises that you plan on doing. And then
just stick to your program.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Literally, dude. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it was. But like Corey was a lot of fun to train because he's another one of those. All of these guys, all my clients are like that. You basically tell him to jump, he says how high. It's like you tell him one thing and he'll do it.
They're all in.
Yeah, for sure. But no, he had the heaviest deadlift of the meet. I don't know if it ended up as it, but he went for 644 as well. Got it locked out. So the thing locked out, quote unquote, he got red lighted for soft knees. So essentially there's like, so you have like gym PRs and like competition PRs. So the only difference is really like in the competition, you have commands that you have to follow.
Okay.
You have commands, and then you have like certain criteria to hit. Like we all know like squat depth,
Yeah.
right? Like knee and hip have to be in line 90 degrees. But there's also commands. So like you have to unrack it, wait for the judge to tell you to squat, have to make sure your knees are locked out. If they're not, you're not going to get the squat command. Same thing if you rush the rack command. So you can lock it out fully. But if you step in before the judge tells you to rack,
It's a failure.
it's a no lift.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal too if you get that like
I know.
major PR or state record or something and you just did like a technicality wrong.
So we saw
Like I
that.
still lifted it.
We saw this
Doesn't
happen at
count.
that
Right.
meet too. There's a guy who was going for, I don't remember what age, but he's actually from New York City. I was talking to him afterwards. So in bench press, your butt has to stay on the bench. You have to pause until wait for the press command. You have to wait for the rack command, and also like the start. But these judges were really strict, and I don't even want to say strict. Really picky would probably be the better word. He recorded the video, and we all watched the video, and he got red lighted for his butt coming off the bench. You couldn't see any difference. His butt was completely on the bench. Cost him a state record.
Whoa.
And then that was his second attempt. Then he went for his third. You got a bunch of anxiety going. Your adrenaline's flowing.
Right.
Rush the press command. Failed it out.
Probably inside his own head too at that point. Like,
Oh, exactly.
yeah.
This dude was smoking state records though, left and right. He was in like a submaster, which I think is like maybe like 30 to 38 or something like that. But he got like the squat record too for that as well.
Jeez.
This meet was just full of a bunch of monsters. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But then like even Brady, so like this is another thing with like competing. Like obviously you compile data on the prior lifting, as you do with anything, sales stuff. Like you're like, how did we do last month? How did my lifter do last month? Where is his numbers at? And then we base those off of his first, second, and third attempts, for the most part.
Okay.
Brady starting a new job, had literally no data on him. He probably hit, like I said, like 10, 12 sessions in the past 3 months. But the kid's just a freak anyways.
Yeah.
And so on his squats, for example, we opened with 364, I think, and then he jumped. His third attempt was 485.
Oh my.
So within three reps, 3 lifts, jumping that high. He got red lighted on that from depth or something. But all the judges afterwards were like, and like the people at the table. So after you hit your attempt, you go over to the table and you have to tell them what you want to hit for your second attempt or third, whatever one you're on. Excuse me. And they were all like towards the end, like, why don't you come back next year and actually throw some weight on the bar, dude? Like, let's see what you're actually made of.
Yeah.
And so then we told them, and they were like just wicked impressed regardless.
Yeah.
So long story, basically, we take the data that we knew. Normally, we start your first attempt at like 88 to 90%. What I found is taking slightly larger jumps in comp is probably the best option. Because let's say you're at 100% of your 1 rep max is your 1 rep max. Okay, so let's say we start your first attempt at 95, then we go 98, and then we go 102. Well, those are all really high stress, high level lifts in a row. But if we started like 88 to 92, then 95, and then jump for a big one, generally you're going to be way less fatigued going into it, into that third attempt, which sometimes it depends on who you talk to. Really, meets are there just for fun, and like I said, it's a with rules or versus without rules. But if you're trying to hit a PR or you're trying to go for a record or something, why hit such close ones? But it also comes down to the lifter.
Right. Yeah.
I've had some intense conversations with certain individuals talking about this. My athletes, like, hey, why don't we open up a little lower? No, dude, I'm not going to do it. I feel comfortable doing this. I know I can hit this. This is what I want to do. Sick. Do it then. Mm-hmm. And it works out great sometimes. Other times it doesn't. It just depends on the person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
So how did you? Obviously, you're a personal trainer at Double Play, and you've been doing that for quite a few years. How did you get into the coaching for the powerlifting competitions?
We're going way back then. Okay, so I was a 3-sport athlete, as you know. I mean, we ran against each other in cross country, right?
A long time ago. Track. It would have been like spring track.
Yeah. So 3-sport athlete all through high school, and then when I got to college, I don't really know, didn't have a competitive outlet. I wasn't a runner anymore. So I started training for the gym.
Yeah.
Did bodybuilding style training. Bodybuilding.com back in the day actually had free programs. Now there's like a paywall, which kind of sucks, especially for like younger lifters having to pay $20 or whatever just to like expose themselves to an actual program and a plan to follow. Mm-hmm. But so I ran like 3-4 programs off that. T Nation was another big one. Ran some there. I did 2 bodybuilding shows back in the day. Way too small to compete. Got like second to last and last in both of them. And then I found powerlifting. So in the off season, one of my buddies in college, Jared, he was my training partner for a while. He started competing back in like 2015, 16, I want to say. There's another federation. It's called the RPS, Revolutionary Powerlifting Systems or something like that. I'm not sure. But they're kind of more of just a fun introduction one. They're less strict. If it's your first competition, hey, go do this, see how you like it. They still have all the same commands and whatnot, but they're just going to allow a little bit more leeway on the certain lifts. So then I started powerlifting myself, and he coached me for my first 2. I did myself, then I hired a coach for the last 2 that I've done pretty much. Well, 2 ago, which would have been like 2022. My current coach was my coach then, Killian. And I did my own prep for 23, and then I've been working with Killian ever since the start of the year. So I basically told myself, I think when in college and whatnot, and having this bodybuilding style background, I use background loosely because I only did it for a few years. I've only been training since like 2013-ish. So I realized, well, hey, if I'm going to go into this personal training thing, bodybuilding probably isn't the best thing to go down just for training Gen Pop clients and people who I'd be training. Powerlifting, way more technical, way more lift oriented and stuff, way more skills. Okay, sick. So I'm going to start doing this. And I got really sick of hiding. So like I didn't have to, I've always been small. Yeah. Like I've always been smaller. So I've always tried going up in weight classes or at least capping the weight class. For the longest time I was competing in the 165s and I would basically weigh in at 157.
Okay.
So I was like 8 pounds lighter.
Right. Of lean mass.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I'm going up, and let's say they cut, so then they're actually competing at 170. Right. I'm only at 157. Like, there's just a huge gap.
Yep.
So I really just fell in love with powerlifting. I've done like 6 meets so far since 2018. I try and do a meet a year. It's just a way that I can stay competitive. And then small town double play, small town Laval, minus Adam Zare, pretty much. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the signs up
at the gym. Yeah,
so in between shoulder press sets, I've probably read that little sign like a million times.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. The dude benched an insane amount of weight at like 130 something pounds. He benched like 400 something. I remember spotting him in a rack with 405 at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you're like, I hope I can spot you with this.
And I was like, yeah, dude, I got you. Let's do this.
I just woke up 5 minutes ago, but
right.
I was in my workout. That was a different time period. But so I just started powerlifting and pretty much fell in love with it. And the natural progression was just going down rabbit holes on programming and strength stuff. There's a really good company out there called Prescript. They have a barbell certification, which is not really marketed as a powerlifting certification, but it's like 200 something pages on just squat, bench, and deadlift variations and like how to
really
max.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super cool. So I did that early last year when Nick was going for the first state record. I was like, okay, if he wants to do this, I'm gonna have to go down a rabbit hole and make sure that I can get him there.
Right.
And so then even just like talking with other coaches and stuff, other friends and stuff who are in the industry. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Or like, hey, what do you do? X, Y, Z, and the other thing. And then I just kind of like built a small name for myself with it. Nick was pretty much my first powerlifting athlete. And then I worked with Cam Jackson. I worked with him a little bit.
Yeah. Cam.
I worked with him a little bit. Never really coached him. Never like paid or anything like that. But at his first meet, I handled him, which is basically just you're like their babysitter pretty much the entire day. Like, hey, do you need any water? You need any of this? This is what you should warm up with.
Slap that donut out of his hand.
Pretty much, yeah.
Don't eat that donut.
Or force the donut in his down his throat because we're at meat and he needs to eat.
Really, earlier you were saying like that class that you started that no one came to, like actually had big results. Like that class that you started, this kid now has a bunch of state records. So
Yeah,
like,
I guess that is pretty crazy. I've never really thought about that.
I'd call it a huge success, honestly.
Yeah, and so I guess that's kind of, and I probably like once a month I would try and hold it, and I had 4 people that class, the first one, less than 10 individuals for the entire year after that.
Yeah.
Just because nobody really wanted it. Maybe it was marketing. Maybe it was just people didn't really know what it was and stuff.
Just takes the one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that like kind of got you into, is that class and meeting Nick and Brady and being there, is that kind of what got you into coaching them? Or
So yes and no. I would say more it's you got to look the part and you have to kind of be about it for the most part, right? So I told myself I've always wanted to train, and this was like 6-7 years ago probably. I knew if I wanted to train these freaks, essentially like guys who are in the big 4s, 5s, 6s, I would have to put myself on the line and actually look the part and do it. I remember seeing you one time when I was at my heaviest at 183 at PB&J.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, you did a good job.
That was peak bulk. I was 183 eating 700 grams of carbs a day. It was like on my high day. It was,
How tall? And how tall?
5'5" 3/4.
Yeah, you were massive.
Yeah. So I basically just did my own thing and was like, okay, I just got to get big. I got to actually get strong. Really. So there's like a good like 2 years, a year and a half or so where I just kind of put my head down and just did a ton of bodybuilding and powerlifting stuff. And then got myself to a level where, okay, these kids who want to try and get past where I'm at or want to do these things now see me doing it. So they're like, oh, okay, he actually cares about it. He looks the part. He can squat a lot of weight, deadlift some weight. We'll go from there. And I think that's more so what has the buy-in than that. Because if you were to hire somebody for a running coach, doesn't run at all, overweight, you going to hire him?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
You want somebody to get you big and strong. You want somebody who's probably big and strong.
Yeah. So like being the one of the personal trainers at Double Play, like it wasn't an automatic, and like being their friend, like they didn't hire, like you really had to work for it.
Yeah. And I think that's what's helped me over the long term, kind of like sustain clients is always doing that. I mean, there's trainers out there that don't work out or anything. I used to work at a gym that there was probably 2 or 3 of us out of like 4 or 5 trainers that would actually work out. And I told myself when I started this industry, I was like, I'm not going to be one of them. I'm consistently trying to work out. Actually, this past time when I was on vacation, not working out for 11 days is probably the longest voluntary stretch I've taken in 10 years of not training. I like it. Love it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Turns
right.
out.
Yeah, I would like taking the time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I hadn't seen my friends in a while either, so it was like
Yeah, that stuff's important.
Not a priority.
No, but I mean, like, it's working out's important too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So actually, these feeds cut out every like just under 30 minutes, 29 minutes, 29 seconds. So we'll just end this segment. I'll reset the cameras and we'll go on to the next thing. I want to get into a little bit of the psychology of lifting or training, especially from a coach's perspective. A coach of people who hold state records, no big deal. And a little bit more into the fitness side of things.
Man.
And what you see. Sound
For
good?
sure. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
We'll be right back, everybody. All right, we're back. We're talking about some buzzwords in the industry.
Functional fitness.
Yeah, functional fitness made you cringe.
Yeah.
So can you tell us why?
Yeah, because I think functional is the buzziest buzzword, especially it used to be, especially when CrossFit came out, because it was like quote unquote functional, but probably clean and jerking and snatching and muscle upping for a 200-pound female is probably not that functional.
Yeah, what about rowing a marathon?
Yeah, that's also probably not that functional. I think it's
very impressive though.
I agree. I think the most I've rode is like 3,000 at a rip, but
and you're dead afterwards.
I'm done.
How many meters is a mile?
1,600. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it took him like
track athletes there.
Yeah, 3,000 would be
3,200 would be.
It took him like 3.5 hours or something just rowing.
Who was that?
This is CrossFit Games.
Oh, geez.
They rowed a marathon.
Yeah, that's absurd. They do some crazy stuff.
Huh.
But yeah, so like I think being a trainer, you sit down with your client, initial assessment. The one thing I always ask them is, what do you want to get out of hiring me? Like, what is your goal here? What's your occupation? What do you do? All this stuff. So functional for the clients I was just talking about in powerlifting is probably going to be squat, benching, and deadlifting because that's what they're training for. Functional for a teacher is probably going to be getting more steps in, actually squatting properly, actually moving their body properly, and doing things that are going to make them feel good and then be able to play with their kids at night. That's a real thing, right? I mean, you both have kids.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, like if you want to be able to pick them up out of the crib without bracing your entire, without putting the weightlifting belt on because you're going to pull every muscle in your back.
No Valsalva maneuver to pick up little Leo over there or whatever.
Like you want to be, you do want to be able to carry your kids and pick them up and run around and stuff without that being a problem at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, and obviously in like marketing and stuff, you have to be catchy and you have to catch people's eyes and stuff. So, I have a class that is called functional fitness at the gym. I know.
Unbelievable.
I know, right?
What a hypocrite.
I wasn't able to change the name of it. I asked about this.
It's above your pay grade.
It's trademarked.
But it's all basically strength and conditioning. We start out with some power stuff so we get moving a little quick. We do a strength circuit and then we do some cardio at the end, like HIIT training.
Functional for most 95% of the population.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It counts.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And I mean, like, we can have people doing regular split squats. Somebody else might be doing TRX split. Wow.
TRX
split squats.
Oh, those are the
straps.
The straps. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you're basically like taking weight off of them, right? Because it's a suspension trainer. So if they weigh 150 pounds, now they're only doing 100 pounds, something like that, because they're able to leverage against the straps.
Yep.
So somebody who's just starting out might be doing that. Somebody who's more advanced might be doing a walking lunge. Somebody who's really advanced might be doing like a contralateral rear foot elevated split squat. All that means is you're holding in the opposite arm you're working with. So your left foot forwards, you're holding the weight in the right. Challenges your balance a little bit more. So there's 4 different exercises for the same class that we can always do. That's probably functional.
Nice.
To use the hated buzzword.
Still a hypocrite.
Yeah,
I looked it up. So the marathon that they rode is 42,195 meters.
Oh my God.
I think they were under a 2-minute pace, like when you're normally on.
Yeah.
Was it
under
100 meters?
That's insane.
200 under 2 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's
on the
pace
concept
for 500.
too. The 500. Yes, 2 minutes. They were under that.
That's
for
insane.
3.5 hours.
That's cooking. Fun fact of the day: did you know it actually like crew rowing is more on like a 3, not a 10?
Really?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Wait. What does it mean?
So like crew team, like rowing and stuff.
Yep.
You know how you have the dial on the concept too.
Oh, like difficulty.
90% of people just chuck it up to 10 because it's harder. It's actually like if you're going duration or like distance, put it at like maybe like a 3 to 5. But one of my clients used to be on a crew team, and he was telling me about that.
Yeah.
So to be more like it is on a crew team, you'd be on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. How many?
3 to 5.
How many people are on there? Like 9 individuals or something like that. So you have 8 people rowing.
Right, pulling the same. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to know what it felt like to be on a crew with 9 other people, put it at 3.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. So
I had to dumb that down for me.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Fun fact of the day there.
Okay.
Is deadlifting the most functional exercise?
I mean, if we go back,
most people, is it beneficial? Can you settle the debate? Is deadlifting worth it for most people?
Yeah, 100%. How many times you pick up something from the ground?
I have kids, so
mic drop.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Interesting.
the reason it gets a bad rap is because people like to squat a deadlift or they just round their back. So
they get hurt.
Or they, deadlift their squats,
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like if we look at a program and we have deadlifts and squats in it, but let's say both of them are very hingy, which just means like looking like a deadlift, like your butt's going back more so, and then they're complaining about low back pain. Well, you're doing 2 hinges when we only accounted for 1. So then the shear force on their spine is going to be a lot more. That's probably why you have back pain. Or your form is probably just sucks as well. And you just don't know how to, which hire a trainer or get better at it. Have some friends watch you. Highly functional in my opinion.
Hook grip or traditional double overhand?
Wait, what's the hook grip?
Hook grip sucks.
The switch.
No, that's
people
switch
tear the switch grip.
Hook grip is
this is
thumb.
the hook grip.
No. So hook grip, you push your thumb against it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Simpler than that. The switch grip or traditional
double overhand.
Double overhand.
Double overhand and then straps.
Yeah. So never switch because you'll tear your bicep, right?
No.
All right.
Okay. Yes.
That's why you're here.
So that's the debate, or that's like the reason. But for Gen Pop clients and stuff, they'll just do double overhand, and then I'll probably give them straps.
Straps or if you don't do straps double overhand, you will be tempted. If you do the switch once, that's what you'll stick with because you feel like you have way more grip.
Oh yeah,
so double overhand with straps.
But like even so, the people that are worried about tearing their biceps probably aren't lifting enough weight to tear their bicep. And the reason you tear a bicep is because you're supposed to have your elbows locked like this.
Yep.
And then they actually lift like this, so you do have tension going through your bicep. When you're here and you're flexing your tricep, your biceps relaxed.
Okay.
So then you really don't have. I've pulled switch grip my entire life. I've actually recently transferred to hook grip, which is where you shove your thumb against the bar and then use the weight of the bar to. Yeah, so it hurts.
Yeah. Okay.
I have
can imagine.
Like callus. I'm trying to get some calluses here, but
I have so many questions about deadlifting. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'll answer them all as best as I can. So I think switch grip is totally fine. I mean, there's guys who have pulled 800 to 1,000 pounds switch grip and never torn a bicep.
Yeah. So when I said that and then you said, no, it's something else, what is the reason?
Why people tear biceps?
Why not to switch grip?
Why not to switch?
Yeah.
Just why not to would be because you would be at a risk of tearing your bicep.
Okay.
If you're more comfortable, Nick pulls hook grip. Corey pulls switch. Corey's never torn a bicep. Nick's never torn a bicep. Nick's also never dropped a deadlift. Neither is Corey.
Okay.
Neither is myself, and I've always just pulled that.
Yeah.
So I think with Gen Pop clients, though, it's just easier to do this. I do have Gen Pop clients who don't like straps, or they're just like, I don't want to fuss with it, so then we'll do switch grip. They're also deadlifting like 200 to 250, which is still a lot of weight, don't get me wrong, but it's not 550 pounds, a lot of weight.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just stick to one more. How do you deadlift without destroying your shins? Is it possible?
Pull conventional.
Keep going.
Continue.
Well, how do you set up? Is this for a personal question?
Asking for a friend.
No, yeah, it's
For a friend, okay.
for a guy I know.
Okay, so generally speaking, a lot of people set up with the bar right against their shins. It's not the greatest way to do it because you can't leverage quad to break the floor. So if you set up with the bar more over your shoelaces, midfoot, if you will,
Yep.
You'll be able to bring your shins to the bar. And then as you initiate it, it's going to be rubbing up against your shins, but it shouldn't be like sumo rubbing up against your shins.
Okay, so I would set up over my shoelaces. But as soon as I get my lanky arms down there and I bend down, my shins come in contact with the bar. So do I just need to set up closer to my toes?
Which is proper technique.
Okay, so when I'm pulling up and it's still hitting my shins, I'm doing something wrong.
No, that's right. It's going to hit your shins. It shouldn't destroy your shins if you're pulling conventional.
Okay, it's scraping my shins. How do I avoid that? You don't.
No,
you're going to destroy your shins.
You're just going
to have bloody shins for the rest of your life.
Longer socks.
Okay. Well, yeah.
There
you go.
Go on Amazon. They have this company called Moxie Socks.
Yeah.
And that's where I've bought all my comp socks at.
Yeah. So well, that makes sense. Just wear socks up to your knees if you don't want to bleed every time you deadlift. Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much. Wait, if you're pulling conventional, you shouldn't be on the knurling.
Check this out.
Are you on the knurling?
See that?
Yeah.
That's just from like a long time ago.
Do you hit the knurling when you conventional deadlift? Like your stance might just be too wide.
I have a pretty narrow stance. I would say like
there's normally
slightly more than. Yeah,
that's where your shins should be hitting if you're pulling conventional. Generally,
I'm not hitting the knurling.
Oh dang, dude! I don't know.
There's an anomaly.
We have a barbell over there. We can do this live.
So switch a camera around real quick.
There we go.
Yeah, I think I do just slightly outside shoulder width. I have a pretty narrow. I'm not into the whole sumo stuff. Like I've never gotten into that. I would do a pretty traditional
your
deadlift
feet are outside shoulder width.
Like maybe shoulder width, and then like a 15 degree or whatever.
Bring your stance in some, probably.
More than shoulder width? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Probably just directly under hips / slightly outside of hips.
Outside of hips.
Yeah. Rotate those knees in a little bit. Don't drive them out, especially in a deadlift.
Okay.
Yeah, so then you can stretch the glute, because if you rotate those knees in, you're stretching the butt.
Yeah. Will this help my shin problem? Like I was.
Probably not, but it'll help your deadlift problem.
Okay. Oh, burn.
Burn.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a shot, but maybe I just need to get some long socks. Okay. All right. Moving on.
Before the break, people are going to be like, wait, before the break, you said you were going to talk about the psychology of training. I'm actually really interested in that part. So do you do outside of your powerlift competition athletes. You're also a general trainer for Joe off the street.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be me.
Joe off the streets.
I'm Joe off the streets.
Gen Pop.
I'm wondering what is the most difficult aspect of training somebody to get to their goals and kind of institute consistency into somebody who you barely know, maybe.
Yeah, so that's going to depend a lot upon the person. So building new and or better habits is 100% it. The training part is generally easy. So if they hire me for twice a week, awesome. We can get your training on lock twice a week for a month. We can probably get all of your lifts looking a lot better. The outside portion is nutrition, which is not my entire forte by any means, but I train fat loss clients. I train muscle gain clients. Food journals, fantastic. Building awareness is probably the biggest key. I have a few clients that literally just journal just like this. They'll take it, record everything they've eaten. We'll bring it back. We'll go over it together. A lot of the times it's just small tweaks. I have a client right now who's basically lost 19 pounds. Her goal for the year was 20. And
we're in August.
Yeah, and she's already hit it pretty much.
Wow.
And she's like 65-ish maybe.
No way.
Yeah. No, and all we did, she tracks her food in a journal.
Life-changing.
Literally all we did to start was, all right, you're going to track this. We're going to go over it each week. We're going to make small tweaks. Hey, okay, let's add protein in for your first meal every single day. Here's some options. You can have yogurt, you can have eggs, you can have cottage cheese, you can have protein shake, you can have a yogurt shake, whatever you want. This is a non-negotiable. This is what you have every single day for breakfast. One of those started with protein. Sick, she does that. All right, let's add in one more piece of fruit a day. An apple. Okay, stacking. Let's have an apple with that first thing of protein. Well, now we already have her eating 30 grams of protein a day and a fruit. Way healthier than what she already was. And then we just keep going down the line. Generally, it's like protein, fruits, veggies. One thing for herself is that she didn't realize she should be tracking her snacks. She liked to snack a lot.
That's me.
Once she started tracking her snacks, that's when she kind of stalled at about 10 pounds. Okay. When she started for probably about like 3 weeks to a month. And then I was like, are you writing down everything you are eating? Because this should be going pretty good. She would train 3 days a week. That was it. Got her tracking her snacks. Found out she was eating like a sleeve of Ritz a day, some chocolate chips, some cookies. She likes to bake. So you got to try what you bake, right? 2-3 cookies every time you bake. If you bake twice a week, is a lot of calories. Okay, let's have half a cookie, give the other half to your husband. Easy stuff like that.
And the husband's happy.
Exactly. There you go. Because the husband gets to try.
You're also a marriage counselor.
Yeah. Speaking of, so they would go out to eat probably 3-4 nights a week.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I would tell her is, look, you can only have one piece of fried food. That's it. You can have chicken wings. You can't have French fries. If you have French fries, you can't have anything else fried. Massive. And then we started tracking her steps more frequently. She had this like Temu tracker. Basically, all it did was
I got one of those.
Yeah, it was literally just like it looked like a Fitbit. She would charge it every day. We tracked her steps. She started at like 3,000 steps. She's up to 9,000 every day. It's literally just the consistency there. And then the willingness of the client wanting to make those changes.
Yeah, that'd probably be the biggest barrier, right?
Yes. And so, because I can give everybody all these tools, and I'm in their corner 100% of the time. I've had a client who started out super hot, did fantastic, lost 15, 20 pounds or so in about a month and a half to 2 months. Mm-hmm. Great. Went on vacation, lost even more because he went down to Florida and he started taking more steps. He worked a very sedentary job, was averaging like 1,500 steps a day.
Okay.
So
a lot of sitting.
That's a lot of sitting. Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of sitting, poor nutrition habits. And then he had some lifestyle things go south and whatnot. But he still shows up every single week, does the second workout on the weekends. We don't really talk nutrition right now because that's kind of like a trigger. And I'm like, okay, dude, you're in here, you're hitting your workouts in, you're sweating, you're getting your heart rate up. You're being healthier. That's all I can ask.
Right.
Now, if I was to hound him on his nutrition, he might drop me as a trainer. And then he's no longer in the gym and he's eating bad. and all of these other things. So it's really like you just kind of like have to be in their corner and just kind of listen to them.
Yeah, I would think that the response to your clients and knowing exactly what they relate to and what triggers them and how to keep steps forward is still step forward, even if it's not a mile at a time.
Exactly. It's all these. There's a great book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Have you read it?
Yeah.
So good. Habit stacking. It's literal habit stacking.
You got to read it, man.
So habit stacking is one thing that I use on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Easy one. You're coming home from work and you pass the gym every day. Have your gym clothes in so then you don't have to pass the gym, go home, sit on the couch for 30 minutes, miss the gym, and then not want to go back.
Yeah,
everybody can relate to that.
Everybody can.
The Mark Cuban, I sleep in my gym clothes idea.
Literally.
That way when I get up, I'm already ready to go to the gym.
Yeah. Another thing is literally just tying your shoes and walking out the door. You're not going to walk back inside.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the gym.
Yep.
So
I forget. What if I forget my shoes?
What if you get...
You know how many
When you walk
times
out
I would
barefoot?
drive to double play at 5 a.m. in my Crocs, get to the gym and be like, oh, my shoes are at home.
If you would just, before you go to bed, tie your shoes on.
Wear my shoes to sleep, wear my shoes to bed.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. But a lot of it is just comes down to that, is building habits around what they're already doing or trying to make small changes. I got into a debate one time with somebody talking about diet soda versus regular soda.
We've had this debate.
Have
well,
you?
not us. I've had the debate with people.
Okay, so this is in the context of a weight loss client.
Okay.
If I have a client who's drinking 2 Mountain Dews every single day, what is that? 240 calories times 2, that's 500 and...
It's 320 calories.
Per one?
For 2
for
Mountain Dews.
20 ounce?
Oh, for a 20 ounce.
For two of the bottles?
2 of the bottles? Oh, it's way
fact
more.
check it.
It's way more. A can is 160, I'm pretty
So
sure.
let's go to... I'm going to put my money on 240.
Per bottle, so 480 total for 2 bottles. Okay.
We're talking 20 ounce or 12 ounce?
Yeah, 20.
60 grams of sugar, probably.
I think, it's like 72. If I'm right on this, I do this way too much. I mean, it's my job, but...
Yeah, you should know. If you're wrong, I'm
It
gonna be
looks like,
probably gonna lose 2 clients.
I don't know how updated these are.
What's 70 times 4? 280, right?
This one says 290.
290.
Yeah.
With
So
77 grams of sugar.
that's close. I said 72.
Holy
So
moly.
let's say they're drinking
enough.
that every single day.
Yeah, so 2 of them is
What's
like
the
580.
What's the age-old saying of fat loss? 500 calories per day, 3,500 calories.
For 1 week, 1 pound of
For-
fat loss.
yep.
Yeah.
Ditch the 2 sodas, have diet soda, you're losing weight.
Yeah. Is this not a no-brainer at this point?
Because people like to argue that aspartame is going to give you cancer, which if you drink a ton of it, it will.
Yeah.
Maybe, probably
And
not.
it's a ton.
We'll never
a
know.
ton.
Yeah, it's like 42 liters a day.
Yeah,
We won't
Peter
know
Tia,
Yeah,
Peter
I like
Tia
Peter.
goes into a detail about that, and it's something like you have to have like 42
it's insane.
to have a measurable amount.
So what is more healthy for the fat loss client? To switch to diet
Yes.
soda and ditch that sugar and probably get them better habits and on track? Yes, they can do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they could switch to water. Have you ever been addicted to anything and trying to quit it cold turkey? It's really freaking hard. Switch it to diet soda. Now you still have the habit of drinking something like that that's fizzy and sweet. And then we can start building upon it.
Sugar-free A&Ws.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the argument would be not that diet soda is good for you in a general health setting, and I don't think anybody would argue that.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
But yes, in the comparison to something a lot sweeter, higher calories, more sugar.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're looking at it from that standpoint, then 100% I'm going to tell my client, go drink diet soda.
Right, versus what you're drinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you heard it here, folks. I do really like the approach of kind of knowing your person's weaknesses and strengths and then like building on those so that they can figure it out for themselves. Most people really struggle with self-discipline. Obviously, I'm sure that's like the number one thing you see, and building resiliency in your own self-discipline so that when you're unmotivated, your discipline kicks in and you do it anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you look at discipline, it's just basic habits. It's just full circle. If we can just create those habits, we're on the right track.
And that's the habit stacking from
stacking.
Atomic Habits.
Alarm clocks, fantastic for meal prepping, setting it to eat your food, setting it to go to steps, setting it to go to bed. Another big one, if you have somebody who doesn't sleep a lot, set an alarm to go to bed versus getting up.
How much of good general health, like percentage wise, would you give sleep?
80%. 80 to 90.
80 to 90.
Yeah, because if you're not, then your cravings are going to go up because your cortisol's up, because your stress is up. You're going to crave sugars and sweets. And then it's going to mitigate any fat loss goals. You're probably not going to have great training sessions either because you're not fully recovered.
Your energy's low, yeah.
Energy's low. Yeah, man. Sleep is everything. Sleep is like 100%. 80 to 100%, depending on the person. Like if you have, I'm a big fan of control what you can control, because obviously we've all gone through life portions where sleep is not an option as much as it should be. So, okay, so if can't control sleep that much, let's control what we put into your body. Make sure your nutrition is on lock. Let's adjust training. So maybe we do a little lower volume training. So then you're not going to impact your recovery that much. There's like so many like switches, and they're like all dimmer switches. Sleep is low. Let's increase nutrition. Let's decrease training volume. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the nuance you're talking about with, okay, where are you at in life? What stage of life are you in? What job do you have?
Yeah.
Let's put all this into kind of an equation for just you, and this will be the
exactly
Sam equation.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's see how we can optimize that the best we can.
This is like any good trainer strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, probably teachers are the same way.
Exactly.
Like there's so many leaders,
yeah, man.
If you're a leader of a company. When I was a police officer, we worked midnights all the time. First 2 years, I was midnights.
Night
all
shifts
the time.
are the death of individuals.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
We're not nocturnal, it turns out.
No.
But no, my training wasn't good, and probably I wouldn't say my diet was very good either, because you're hungry. Where are you going to go at 3 a.m?
Yeah, exactly. Gas stations.
Yeah.
So you're eating Ritz
Anything good at
crackers
gas stations?
No,
Not really.
hard-boiled eggs. That's about it.
Yeah. But my so it's interesting you say that. My roommate that I graduated the academy with, we were roommates for a couple of years. He's been on midnights, I think, the whole time. Still, like to this day. But he was so regimented with his diet and his food prep and he still trained and would find time for that. But you have to like hone in on all the controllables.
You really do.
Can you work, like have a lifestyle of working, like your job has you working overnight, like the opposite of a normal lifestyle, right? And do the same thing as somebody who is optimizing for a normal lifestyle and still have the same level of success?
Probably not.
Really? So like sleep at night is better than sleep during the day, just from the human body. Like
I would. So this is out of my forte and stuff. So don't take all of this 100%. But I would say, depending on the length of time, because you have people who work swing shifts. So maybe they work nights for 1 week and then they're working 11 to 7, then 7 to 3, and then 3 to 11. Boom, 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 week 1, 2, and 3. They're going to be jacked up all the time. But let's say somebody's working night shift for 10 years and they've kind of like adjusted to that. Food is also like nutrition is also on a circadian rhythm. It kind of links up with your sleep and whatnot. So if you're able to
regulate that.
Yeah. But then you also have like sunlight and you need like blackout curtains. You need to be.
Yeah. That's what my roommate does. It's just like,
and if you
his
never,
whole life is backwards.
If you never see the sun, you never get any vitamin D.
Yeah, so it's really hard to do that. It really matters.
Yeah. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
Well, you have to find it. You have to be more intentional. Like if you get out at 8 a.m,
go see sun.
Yeah. Right away. But
then you're going to be
sleep.
awake.
Yeah. Or
see
sleep.
what I mean?
And then you have to find sunlight exposure after.
Yeah.
Like before even the evening comes.
Yeah. So the guys that are making it work are the people that are like, they're finding a way to artificially do the same thing as everybody else.
Stimulants.
Anyway. Yeah.
Caffeine.
Adderall, literally anything. Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting. Yeah.
They, I think it's modafinil. I think that's what gets prescribed to people with like narcolepsy and night shift workers to get them back on track on sleep schedule. It's literally like it was like deemed like the limitless pill, essentially. Yeah, so it's like Adderall times 10.
Whoa.
You can get it in like Canada or something. It's like ephedrine pretty much too. Which is now, you can get in Canada too.
Wait. Narcolepsy, is that when you just fall asleep randomly?
Yeah, so it's basically a drug to keep you up.
Seems healthy. Seems very good for you.
Yeah. I think that it's I think it's that because Meloxidil, I think, is the hair growth one.
How do you
Rogaine.
So going back to the discipline, and how do you deal with? Do you have a method, or maybe it's temperament? Maybe you have to have the right temperament to be a personal trainer and be a good one. But how do you deal with lack of discipline and clients?
You only give your clients as much as they give you. So if I have a client, and that's not to say that the 50% that I'm giving to somebody isn't 100% of that 50%. Like if they show up on time and they're there, 100% we're going to work hard. But if they're constantly complaining, oh, this is heavy, oh, this hurts, oh, this isn't working, am I really going to spend a lot of more time because I'm going to stress myself out, and then I'm not going to get good sleep, and then I'm not going to be able to give my other clients who are giving me 100%. And it's also a really good way to keep yourself sane in the industry.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering. Like, it must be really frustrating to work with humans who are inherently they inherently lack discipline. And so I feel like being a personal trainer is like a really hard job.
And that also goes, I mean, I've done it time and time again. I've been the person to give 100%, try and figure it out, spinning your wheels constantly. Why is this person not doing what they should? And it just gets you frustrated and then gets you angry. There's something I was going to say on that. I can't remember. It'll come back to me. But
yeah, like how does it's kind of like we humans kind of stink in the area of discipline so much that I almost wonder, how is there even a personal training industry? Like
maybe that's because maybe that's why there is one.
Like how like you great, you sign a client, but like no one wants to stick to a program. So you sign a client, you lose a client. Like how do you do it? How do you keep them motivated? How do you keep your clients? How do you keep them coming back?
How do you keep retention is huge.
Yeah.
Be a person they want to see every single week. Literally just be cool. I mean, like I talk shop with my clients about my life, their life, everything, what's going on in the news stuff. Half of it's also a therapy session for some people. I have a client who she's consistently inconsistent. I'll put it that way. So like single mom, works 2 jobs. She sometimes has to work late at the job that she's at. So she might not come to her sessions, but we try and double up if we can sometimes. But she told me she had wicked gym anxiety, like through the roof. She waited in the parking lot and never went into the gym, drove home, and tried doing a home workout with a muffler, like a car muffler. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because she didn't want to go to the gym because she had such bad gym anxiety. Now she comes in the gym on her own every now and then. But she also told me, she goes, I love coming to the gym now. Hanging out with you, it's like a partway therapy session on top of actually working out and stuff. So just be somebody that they want to see a lot. That's not to say that you can just get by in this industry without getting your clients results or anything. Like you obviously have to be putting in the work and stuff too. But if you're a boring person and you don't do anything and you're just very mundane, or you're just like, all right, Susie, do this.
3 sets of this.
3, 4. Like, you got to get hype, man. I mean, like, I roll into the gym with my speakers blaring to, like, Eminem or something, like, trying to get hype at 6 a.m. Used to be 5 a.m., but, yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get them results. Have fun with it. Like, make the workouts fun.
Yeah.
Make them want to come.
Be relatable.
In your words, you said it. Be cool.
Relatable. Yeah.
Be cool.
Yeah. There's one of the coaches that said that. It was like, learn, just be cool.
Yeah.
Just be somebody that they want to hang out with.
Right.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, that's
it makes sense though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you stick with the same person?
It's a relationship thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Retention, relationship equals retention.
Know your clients' kids, know their dogs.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get a gym atmosphere that feels like that, it's like family. I think that's probably a big part of like CrossFit's rise, and I know they're kind of plateauing, it seems like, but it was just community and like
the camaraderie and everything, man.
Together.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, we're gonna be boys and we'll chill and yeah. There's something about it. Like the camaraderie of CrossFit was like a huge drive for it for a long time.
Yeah, and that's why people like group classes too.
Yeah,
because you make friends and stuff. And I'm gonna go to the gym this day. Okay, sweet. There's like a standard. There's like one girl who's come for like the past like prior to COVID, and then her and her friend were coming prior to COVID 2-3 days a week, every single week. Don't think they've hardly missed. The other one's a little spotty, but now she's been a client there all the time, 3 days a week consistently.
Yeah.
Comes to group class. Yeah.
That's another point I want to get to. We'll just reset. Do you have time for one more?
Yeah, dude. I got as much time as you want,
man. Just going to stay here forever? This is about a 7-hour podcast.
Yeah,
Nick, how about you? We do one more segment?
Yeah,
cool. I just want to get, when we come back from the break, I just want to get back into like the camaraderie, how you motivate people. And, but I'm interested to know about the, like the group class atmosphere, and if that's partially accountability or if it's
I hate group classes. I'll put that out there.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, let's talk about more about what you hate. Okay.
Yeah. No, we can. Yeah, for sure. I think. Yeah.
Perfect.
Group classes are fun, but it's just you have to have a certain amount of clients to make money.
Right.
Because
it is a business.
Yeah. So I'm all commission too. So it's like I get paid per how many people show up to it.
Okay.
Lewis County isn't the biggest fitness oriented place.
Right.
So if I only have one person for a group, I'm still going to train them. We're still going to have fun. We'll work on what they do, but
right.
You don't make as much.
You have to retain for
Yeah.
your own livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll come right back and we'll talk
Business
about
is good
the business side of it a little bit too.
Dude. Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
All right. Be right back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Before we get to that, yes, episode 6 was with the wives, and we did talk about love languages and personality and stuff like that, which we like that kind of stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
no, it's good, especially if you're in that stage of life and you want to hear some advice from people who are not that new at it, Nick anymore.
Barely
Nick, wait, how long have you been married now?
Only 8 years. Nothing.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, but that's not nothing.
Yeah.
That's
How old
not
are you though?
nothing.
You're like 28, 29, right?
30.
You're 30? Yeah.
30. Closer to 31. And feeling it.
I feel like I'm just coming into my prime. Okay, that's something interesting.
There you go.
My personal fitness goals are to feel like I'm 5 years younger all the time, or whatever, 10 years, whatever. 30 is the new 20.
Facts.
I'm 33, but I honestly haven't felt better, but I'm more intentional about it.
Yeah,
in
dude.
like the last 2 years.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's good though. I mean, like taking your health into your hands, right?
Yeah. How functional of you.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Doing the functional training here.
He's saying, he turns into a rage monster.
Clenching fists.
Coming here was a mistake.
Rage monster. No, yes, I want to be able to play with my grandkids and my kids.
That's huge motivation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, that is a real thing. Like, if you're not careful, you could hit 40 and be like, I can't do anything. Like, that does happen.
Yeah.
That does happen. You can deteriorate very easily if you're not careful with taking care of your body.
And it's at an accelerated pace.
It's very
the older
real.
you get.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like the age-old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you stop moving
quickly,
if you stop bending over and deadlifting, you're probably not going to be able to touch your toes or pick your grandson up from the ground at the age of 60.
Yeah. So honestly, the goal of like, I just want to be able to play with my kids is not a small goal. Like,
it
takes a lot of work and it's very important. Yeah. And if you're not intentional about it, you really could struggle with something as simple as running around with your children and keeping up with them.
Yeah, man. I think on that same note, I think a lot of people think you have to do way more than what you need to. 2 to 3 days a week for like 45, 60 minutes workouts.
Yeah.
You'll be good.
I saw something on social media not too long ago. It was a guy who lost a crap ton of weight. And I mean, like, he went from being like 400 pounds down to like, muscular. He was 200 pounds and he was pretty fit. And it was a side-by-side picture of him playing baseball in the yard with his kid when he was 400 pounds. And then it was him, like, the other picture was him playing with this kid doing something else at 200 pounds. And his caption was like, I went from, you just don't notice it. You just don't notice it. Sometimes I look at situations where I wonder, man, like, how could this person like play with their children?
Oh yeah.
I genuinely wonder, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but I've wondered that. Well, this post kind of opened my eyes. His caption was, I went from being miserable playing with my child because of the work it took for him to do it, but he loved his kids so much that he did it anyway. But it was really hard for him. He physically struggled and it hurt to play with his kid. I can run around and play with my kid and it's actually fun. And there's a detail in there that people don't think about. It's not that it stunk and it hurt him because he was so out of shape to play with his kid. It was that while he was playing with his kid, he wasn't happy. That stinks. Not only do you want to be like around and fit to play with your kids, you want to enjoy it while it's happening. That's important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting. So anyway, seeing this guy's post, I was like, oh, that's the first I've ever thought about it that way. Like, yeah, he's out there in the yard playing ball, but he's not having fun.
No.
He's not enjoying the time he's having with the 18 years you have with your kid. He's not enjoying it.
He's just ticking it off. You got to play with the kid today.
Yeah. And like, I want to enjoy when I'm throwing ball in the air with my kid. I don't want to be thinking about how hard it is for me. My lungs hurt. I can't, I don't know, whatever. It's just the fact that I
have joint pain in this area because I'm carrying extra
and that's
weight
what you're thinking about when you're trying to play ball with your kid.
Oh, that's so sad. You're not even like being present with him, like actually.
Right.
It's not just the physical being able to do it. It's the being there with the kid and enjoying it at the same time is really important. And I don't mean that any kind of way. It's all love.
Well, the blessings cascade too, because there's a direct correlation. You see the new studies that come out with particularly the mother's fitness and their children.
Oh, I can kind of see where this is going though.
Yes. Yep. So basically, the more fit the mother is or takes her health seriously, it cascades and they have the same.
Yeah, man. I mean, kids are sponges.
So what is it? Sorry, I'm good.
No,
I would like to. I'll have to find a study. No, but
more than fathers.
It's a direct correlation. Fathers are true too. It's the same, especially if they can both.
Yeah, it's just like a kind of a counterintuitive idea. Like you. So I would want to make sure I didn't mishear you. You said that when a mother is in shape, that is a big effect on the children.
It's a direct correlation to their health in the future.
Wow. Okay.
And that's like even postpartum and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was I was listening to this podcast earlier. It was with Adam Schafer. Do you guys know what Mind Pump is?
No, but I know Adam. I know Adam Schafer,
the bodybuilder guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was with him and this other guy. He hardly does any podcasts. And so they have like a 2-year-old or something. And he was saying that kids are literal sponges from 0 to 7. And even a lot of these subconscious things that they hear and see. He was saying how when his wife was pregnant, they wouldn't even tolerate like family gossip. So if the mother was in a room with the sister and the brother or something and they were talking smack about each other or whatever, she would leave. So then the baby wouldn't get that around them.
That's really good. That's good parenting.
Yeah.
That's good parenting right there.
On that, hold on one second, Brock. I know you want to get into this,
No,
but
no,
on
go,
the same note with talking about playing with your kids and stuff, I was hiking like 2-3 weeks ago with two of my friends, and we were talking about like even just being able to experience the like nice sights around here, like not being able to go hike Whetstone Golf, which is not a massive feat. If you're overweight and out of shape, you don't have the ability to. You get to view it through a screen, but I mean, what fun is that? You don't have the. Yeah, it's crazy. I think just being fit and healthy is a huge motivation to just being able to do things.
Yeah,
and do them well.
Yeah, I should clarify that it's not the target is not being overweight. That's not always the target. Like you can struggle to enjoy these things and be like sometimes just not being in great shape doesn't mean you're overweight. It just means you can't do a whole lot. Like you're not very strong. You can't. You could be 160 pounds and 6 foot tall. Like you would think that that's in shape, but the moment you go try to go on a hike, you're like, you can't do it because you don't have the cardiovascular fitness. Like it's not just about targeting the overweight population or whatever. It's a lot of other stuff could prevent you from enjoying time with your children. So I don't want to make it sound like it's
just being fit.
One demographic. Yeah.
It's
just not being fit. You can sacrifice a lot of. You might be spending time with your children, but you're sacrificing real time for just the struggle of knowing, like feeling like you can't keep up. And it's not fun either. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of studies here that they all parrot the same thing, but they're specifically talking about into adolescence and then into young adulthood. They found a direct correlation with the level of fitness and health in the mother, and then how they are decades later.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
That takes a weight off of my shoulders.
Yeah. So go hiking with your kids. That's kind of, yes.
I don't need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger for my kids to be in shape. It's more about more on Brielle than me.
Like, okay, so interesting point. Have you seen his wife, his ex-wife? Okay, they had 2 children, I believe.
Okay.
And I should pull this up
Pull it up.
because I want to fact check myself. And one grew up with Arnold.
Okay.
And one grew up with the ex-wife.
It's all the environment, man.
You should see the difference. The one that grew up with Arnold is a bodybuilder, healthy, fit. The one that grew up with mom, who's not very healthy and fit, is exactly like mom.
Yeah.
There you go. That's pretty much all you need to see.
It comes down to environment, and then it's your reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah, and association, mental health, association
Huge.
with positive things for for anything for your cardiovascular health or just fitness in general, or your diet. How about that?
Yeah,
How about growing up when you're not eating garbage all the time?
Garbage. You see some of the kids walking around or running around.
Go to Walmart and look at the carts.
Yeah.
You know,
Shop on the outside, guys. Biggest takeaway, shop on where they are perishable.
I've never thought about that.
You've never noticed? Oh my God, okay.
That is exactly right.
My mind is blown.
Well, where's all the refrigeration? It's always in the back and on the right. I mean, at our Walmart.
Yeah,
Good
it's actually like you
Good
go.
stuff requires refrigeration.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, any non-perishables are on the inside.
Yes.
Maybe buy your breads and stuff that you eat on the inside of the store, but
Yeah.
outside of that, yeah.
That's
Your
interesting.
meats, your veggies, your dairy, your eggs.
Not everything on the outside is good, but the good stuff is usually on the outside.
I would argue the majority of it.
'Cause you can get, like,
maybe not like
Yogurt is crappy sometimes, or
sugar
yogurt, or
I
chocolate
mean,
milk.
A ton of bacon probably isn't the best either.
Right. Yeah.
But majority of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, because like
That's
if you go to Walmart, it's all like produce and like greens
outside.
and all that stuff, and then you go around. Even when you go around, it's like steak, chicken,
Then it
and
goes
you
to
get like your
cheeses.
cheeses, and then your milk and your eggs.
Orange juice, all that
In
stuff.
the middle is all the
Yeah.
yummy stuff.
Yeah, pasta, baking ingredients.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, it is. 100%. It's
It's just a
insane.
mind game. It's a big mind game.
But I love Little Debbie.
She's wonderful.
Put Little Debbie on the outside.
Just make a little shelf for Nick over here.
Make Little Debbie's healthy
But
again.
Sam said that the
were
healthy stuff's on the outside.
Yeah, but Sam said. Dude, next time if I'm ever at Walmart when you're there, I'm putting a Little Debbie's like in the in the lettuce area.
Sometimes if you walk,
Sam said they're here.
There we
milk
go.
and then the meat, and then you hit.
Then there's beer.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Get
kind
all
of
the way
a
down to the baking or the produce section where like the bread is on the outside. Then it's like the bakery where you get the chicken buckets and stuff.
Yeah.
And you keep going along that side. They have the pizza on the shelf, and at the very end, there's sometimes a little end cap with Hostess stuff on it. Is that healthy? No. Like they'll keep like ding dongs and stuff on the
You
end.
went on record as
That's on the
saying
edge.
no.
We're going to put an asterisk there.
Yeah, but it was on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I think that's really good stuff. I want to just touch on the business side of things. You are also a leader in that space. You work with other trainers as well?
Not yes and no. So
Not in official capacity, or
yeah, I have JT, who's I guess would be technically under me and stuff. And outside of that, we really don't have a lot of trainers at Double Play. At the other gym I used to work at up in Watertown, I worked there from 2018 to 2020. There was 6 trainers there. I was not the head trainer. My head trainer was Ruben. Shout out Ruben. He's a fantastic guy. He's basically gave me a ton of the stuff that I know today. And so a lot of that was trainer education. We would have trainer meetings weekly or bi-weekly, and we'd have like actual management meetings weekly and stuff, game plan there. But I think there's this company called Prescript. Shout out them. They're fantastic. They do a bunch of continuing education courses. They have probably 15 of them. I've taken Prescript level 1, barbell, and level 2. Level 1 is applied biomechanics, basically rib cage or shoulder, hip, and spine. And then level 2 is rib cage, pelvis, nervous system stuff. Very in-depth stuff. Very fun stuff. Very actionable items, takeaways there. But they do have lifetime access to the live labs. So if you ever see me on my Instagram story and I'm in a Zoom call or whatever on a Sunday morning, that's what it is. And it's just a bunch of coaches across the world, literally across the world, that you can go, you can ask questions, and you can bounce ideas off of. And there's physios, physical therapists there, chiropractors, other personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, massage therapists, anybody and everybody's there. And you can bounce ideas off of them. And they're no price tag could be put on that to have that option. And then you make connections and stuff. Like one of my buddies, Hunter, he's out in Kansas, who I talk to him pretty much on a daily basis. Not always about coaching and training and stuff. Might be about dogs, might be about memes. But you build those relationships. And then if I have an issue or something, I just did some talks and held some clinics at Lowville. I was texting him because he used to be a strength and conditioning coach at a high school and a gym teacher. And so bouncing ideas off of him was huge in order to how do I do this? What's the best route of action to do this and that? So I guess to wrap around, I don't do a ton of education at Double Play, I would say. I do help JT and any other trainer that wants it or like people who want to become trainers and stuff, I will always answer any question or like take some time to talk. I don't know if that answers your question there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, on the business side of it, is there ever like a peak in your mind of like, how can I, because it seems like a good trainer is relatable and personable and wants that person to do well, obviously.
Yes.
Because nobody will buy in otherwise.
Exactly.
You know, if somebody feels like you're phony, they're just going to be like, you don't really care about my success. So
people are really good at calling bull.
Isn't that
really
funny?
Quickly.
They really are.
Yes.
Like people can call it out immediately.
It might take a few seconds, hours. It might take a few weeks or months even. But like once they know it, they're like, oh, I'm not going to go with this guy anymore.
Yeah.
He's done.
And I wonder if there is ever a draw for you. I mean, you sound like a great trainer, so I don't think there is. But like, I have to keep this person motivated so that I can
not really
bottom dollar.
Not really. I think I'm at a point in my career where I have a wait list. I have clients. I make money. It's all good. I've only dropped one client in my entire career of 6 years of being a trainer.
Okay. It was Nick. This
guy right here.
It was Nick Kiliansky.
Yeah, he wasn't hitting his deadlifts.
Yes, he had bloody shins. It was gross.
No.
Yes.
You're just there, like I said earlier, you're just kind of in their corner, and if they want to leave, cool. I mean, like, if they no-show without letting me know, I give everybody 3 shots. So everybody gets the first 3, totally free. You miss it, put in your calendar wrong, whatever. If it's just, hey, man, I woke up late, you're getting charged for that session. Dude, I got to make money, too. It's not just, I mean, it is a passion industry.
Right.
Like, you got to love this and you got to be in it. Like, pretty much. Was that the original question? Pretty much like,
yeah. Like, how can you separate yourself from performance at your job, but also maximizing your client's potential? Yeah.
So, I mean, like, those clients that do 110% are the ones that keep you in it. Those are the ones that you're excited to see. And those are the ones, and it makes the ones that only give you 30% a whole lot easier to deal with. It's the ones that only give you 30% that are the 5 hammers, but they're rarely ever the 5 hammers. So, and you can normally tell out the gates or whatever, or talking to them in their assessment and stuff. But 90% of people who hire trainers, or at least around here, are actually about it. Like, they wanna see results, they wanna work out, they wanna get stronger, they wanna build muscle. So it's very rare. I don't think and you also attract certain clienteles, right? I'm not gonna get somebody who wants to do yoga all day. I don't even stretch. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so there's so many rabbit holes we can go down. There we go. But like,
let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't even stretch. I do powerlifting. I train athletically now. Do banded deadlifts and squats. Like, nobody's gonna hire me. That's probably, I mean, should I say nobody? Rarely people are gonna hire me that are like that. The people that are gonna hire me are the people who want to get stronger and want to lift weights. Might be a 40-year-old mother of 3 that's like, hey, I want to get stronger. Sick, let's do it.
Yep.
Start out on a kettlebell deadlift, then we go trap bar, and then we go barbell.
Yep.
But like, so you just attract individuals like that. And I think if I was to be a yoga instructor, then I would have more yoga individuals. You don't see a lot of big meatheads in yoga classes.
Yep.
Are you a meathead?
I would be a meathead, yes.
You would fall into that category.
I am a nerd that's a meathead, yes. For sure.
Yeah, the old meathead nerd.
The Lewis County's Jeff Nippard. That's what you are.
Yeah. Speaking of, I used to binge watch him back in like 2014 with his Science Explained videos.
Yeah. He's been doing it that long.
Dude, he's been doing it for a minute.
I keep feeling old.
Yeah,
he's so good at that.
He's so good at that.
That is how he talks, but he's so good.
Yeah,
he's so smart. Oh, man. And I'm a visual learner, so like, that's right up my alley. If I need to figure out how to do anything, I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube University, man.
Yes.
That's where I learned how to...
How is there not an accredited degree yet? There's got to be one.
Just wait for it.
Yeah,
there probably will be.
I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
So if you don't stretch, what's your recommended way of warming up for a lifting session, the average lifting session?
Perform exercises that mirror that, and or you need to build in certain ranges of motion to help that lift feel better.
Yeah, so... Yep, that's right. So when I was going to ask you, if we had time, I was going to ask you what you think of the classic Strongless 5x5 program. Heard of it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So his
I've never
assertion
run it before, but
yeah, it's
I know the 5x5.
Yeah.
Start at 75, 85, 80, 85.
Yeah. It's squat, bench, deadlift, shoulder press, and
you were a big fan
pen
of that.
my row.
You used to do that all the time, right?
I did it for like 6 months. And yeah, I saw the most results on that I had doing anything else.
So the stretching is great.
He doesn't say stretching. He's a proponent of you don't ever need to stretch. You just need to warm up doing the movement that you're doing and work your percentages up to your working weight.
So kind of. Stretching is great to get into ranges of motions passively. If I have somebody coming in that is very immobile, we're probably going to stretch. If I have a person who basically doesn't have too many movement discrepancies, we can probably just, so example, prior to squatting, what if we did a rear foot elevated split squat, right? So like a Bulgarian split squat, get a stretch in the back leg a little bit, work the hips, get some rotation. Depending on which side we'd load it, just depends on like how their hips function, like in the actual squat. Okay, so from there, maybe we go to a suitcase carry because they can't brace that well, or an anti-rotation
Dude,
press.
I never want to train with you. You're making me do split squats and lunges before I squat.
Everybody, yeah. So, but hear me out. So here,
sounds
horrible. So we do that. So let's say they also suck at bracing. So maybe we give them an anti-rotation press, maybe a plank, maybe something along those lines. And then we're going to give them something more direct, so a goblet squat, or maybe like even an RDL. If they're driving their knees forward a ton on a squat, they need to get their center of mass back. Do an RDL because it shifts back. So we do those three in a circuit. Doesn't have to be insanely heavy. But then you go into your squats and you're already warm. Your hips are moving. Your core's braced. Your center of mass is back where you need it to be. Sick. Now we're ready to squat.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So doing a bunch of passive stretching. Let's say you stretch for 10 minutes. Go hop on the elliptical for 10 minutes. And then do your prep work. And then do your squats.
So the movement is more important than the static stretching.
For sure.
Yeah.
Example, I used to have a client. I do have a client. She's a 6 a.m.er. And she would wake up like 30 minutes early to do stretching at her house before she came to our sessions. And she'd always be tired and stuff. I was like, look, sleep in.
Sleep's more important.
Go do 10 minutes on the elliptical. Then we'll do our single leg RDLs, our walking lunges, and we'll do our bridge presses. There we go. Now you're warm and now you're good. And she doesn't have pain or anything like that.
Yeah, this is great because nobody likes to stretch.
Yeah, no, it sucks, man. I want to lift weights.
Stretching is awful.
Yeah.
Most people skip it because it's awful.
Yeah, and I think if you were just better at selecting exercises that you need, then you won't have to waste time on the stretching.
Yeah, even if you can coordinate those movements that prepare you for that are like the different components of a squat, doing the individual movements that work that specific component, doing that on a day separate from your squats is even beneficial. It's like programming around your main movements, supporting movements that build that one movement.
Exactly, and that's all accessories are. But if we go back to that even, and we look at it from a standpoint that you're squatting on this day, then you're deadlifting on this day, then you're benching on this day. So we just have to line those up, and that all just comes from the assessment. So like how you move. So that's like session 1. So you're going to do an assessment with me, and then we're going to figure out where your discrepancies lie. And that's going to be the first basically like giant set. The first 3 exercises in your program are going to be something to build that where you're lacking. And then we'll go into it. And then those can just progress. And then eventually we want to get it to where you don't need to do those 3 and you can jump right into squats. Because then if we look at it from a powerlifting standpoint, if we have these 3 exercises that, let's say you're doing split squats with 60s in each hand, that's pretty heavy. That's a 120 pound split squat. And then you're doing your barbell squats. Well, then you're somewhat fatigued into the barbell squat.
Right.
Why don't we just move this to after the squats, and then you're able to express more strength in the squat closer to the meat. Yep. So it's basically a way that we just cap load, and then we can just shift it down. Yeah,
you get to a weight in your squats where you need like your central nervous system for that movement, and not so much those prior movements. You can't do those anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're just kind of like you have the strength underlying, but now we're just going to allow you to express it.
Yeah, interesting.
You know what's funny? I had a baseball shoulder injury in college, and one of the things, shout out Dan Smith, he was actually an Olympic trainer
from BYU.
What? No.
Dan Smith,
that's East-West Bowl. Shout out to the what are those guys? Key and Peele. And then he was a trainer at my college, and then he's now the head trainer for Quinnipiac's hockey team.
Oh, dang.
So they're the best of the best. Anyway, he's amazing.
Champs.
I had a shoulder injury, and one of the things he said was like, you need to strengthen your shoulder. Like, start doing these exercises and getting the muscle around your joint stronger so that you're So that's what you're talking about.
So that your rotator cuff isn't doing everything.
Isn't so stressed out. Yeah.
Do some shoulder presses, do some bench press, do some rows.
Yep. With your older clients, just to pivot quick, with your older clients, do you tell them? Actually, you know what? I'll quiz you.
It's too late.
What's the? No, you don't tell them it's too late. No.
No, never have I said that to a client.
How you doing? Yeah, I can't help you.
But,
Yes. And then they were like, "That's not funny." Dr. Rhonda Patrick, you're familiar.
Yep.
She correlated the longevity in older adults to muscle mass and the importance of continuing to increase your lean muscle mass or at least maintain.
Yep.
Do you give the same protein regimens that you would for an older, let's say 65 and older, for like somebody that's younger? Because I know it's like about a gram per pound of body
like
fat,
that.
whatever the calculation.
I don't normally talk nutrition with a lot of my older clients like that are like 60 plus. Nor do I have a lot of them, but generally, yeah. And because it's an easy goal to hit, but it's also they're generally eating 50 to 60 grams probably.
Okay.
So even just giving them a goal of eating 100 grams is probably going to do great. And then we go up. But yeah, generally I would say the same amount, maybe even a little bit more depending on what they're eating outside of it. So protein's very satiating, so it makes you feel full. So if they're a person who snacks all the time, so all right, sir, we're gonna have you eat 50 grams of protein at this meal, and then 30 the next, 30 the next.
Snack and jerky and
yeah,
whatever
or
else.
even just bigger meals.
Do you find success in the nutrition aspect with older clients? Like how well do they do in that? It's kind of like
I don't really have too much. So the only person that I would say I've done a ton of nutrition with that is older would be my mother.
Okay.
And so she did the, what is it? This is a point system from, who did that? Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers would do the point system.
Yep.
And her old adage of, it would work if I stuck to it. You got to stick to it in order for it to work. So we actually got her tracking her calories, and that's when she started losing weight and started strength training.
Yeah.
But prior to that, she was doing the point system and walking, wasn't seeing too many results.
Yeah. That's fascinating. It's fascinating to me that there's so many programs that maybe we could go on forever with
point
this
system. Just count your calories. It's the same dang
It's
thing.
literally the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But like for me, I don't like to do that.
No. But
So like maybe I'll train harder instead of like watching my diet. So
Okay.
The problem is that
you cannot work a bad diet there, Brock.
I didn't say how bad it was.
That's true.
It's not good.
maybe I just don't understand Weight Watchers, but like, what is like the chicken breast is 0 points? Is that true?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
0 points.
You're right
It's
though.
200 calories for whatever
The only
portion.
thing I know that are 0 points in there is vegetables.
Okay.
Because they're like minimal calories.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, I haven't looked into Weight Watchers in a while, but even if we go back to like the food pyramid, like which is of that era too,
Don't get me
they
started
wanted
on
you
the
to do
food
10
pyramid.
servings of grains.
Yep. Don't get me started.
Protein was at the top. Was you needing like 2?
Right.
Yes,
So
right.
and I do remember Weight Watchers recently pivoting to do something slightly different than the point system, but I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't put too much stock into it.
Yeah, but I mean like so when I'm in my routine, I do well. But when I'm out of my routine, it's not so well. But I know people who would be less consistent going to the gym, but are so good. My mom's a good example. I have a brother-in-law.
Nutrition.
They can just count their calories and just shed weight.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that sounds amazing. Can't do that.
I've worked with it. So one of my friends from high school, when I was still in college, her college schedule was so hectic that she would go to the gym maybe once or twice a week, if that.
Okay.
And we just had her tracking her calories, and she lost like 15 pounds.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Find what works.
That and steps. Like literally just count your steps.
Okay, so that's my next question. What's the
Steps
best
is the
step
new
counter?
Weight Watchers.
What's the best step counter?
Garmin?
Oh, no. I would probably just go with Emu version.
Your brain.
Okay, funny,
Count them out
interesting
manually.
though, because Corwin was on, and he had some knockoff. No.
Oh, okay.
He had some knockoff, and it was counting some crazy like 15,000 steps or something. He got like a Garmin, and it was because it was calculating when his arm
Yeah.
would swing, stuff like that. And he got a Garmin, which was more like
So-
8,000.
So then we can go consistently inconsistent.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're consistently getting 10,000 steps, but you're not losing weight,
It's all relative.
all right, Suzuki, let's go 12,000.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I really just count,
also,
count in your head.
Also, if they're hiring a coach,
hard.
they're probably spending between $150 to $200 already a month.
Right.
Are they really going to drop $350 on a Garmin?
No.
And if she's just starting out in a Gen Pop, is she going to want to drop $350 on a Garmin?
Yeah.
She okay with dropping $35 on an Amazon step counter? 100%.
You should become some brand step counter dealer.
Off brand.
Yeah,
because you're right. It's kind of all relative.
It really is.
Yeah. All right.
It's this. Yeah, dude, it's the same thing when we got the new cable machine at the gym. So we got like this brand new one, the old Cybex. Didn't even give you how much per plate was. I just called it 10 just to give it a function.
It's not 10 pounds.
No, some kid came in and he was like, oh, it's 27.5 because he put a dumbbell to it or whatever. I was like, I don't care. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Cool.
Right, because you can just gauge it as long as you're with a personal trainer. But if you're with what if you're there by yourself and you go to different gyms?
So I did pin number 4. So then we come into the conversation of you just have to train at a certain intensity. It doesn't matter what the weight is. Your body doesn't know what weight is. Your body just knows tension.
How hard it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So when people came to the new gym and they were doing a seated row at 66 pounds, guarantee it's not 66 pounds. It's probably like 100 or something like that.
Okay.
But when they were at the other gym, they were able to max the stack for 20 reps.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Right, right, yeah.
Okay, we're consistently inconsistent. It doesn't matter. You did the 4th pin down. Now try the 5th pin down in 2 weeks. It's all that matters. Like I said, as long as you're training at a certain intensity, you're going to see the results that you want. And I have clients who train at multiple gyms. And so all I tell them is, okay, you can track it if you want, and you can just put in the notes section in the app that, hey, this is at Archetype, or like, hey, this is at PFIT, or like, hey, this is at Crunch. It's not going to matter as long as you're still hitting 12 reps with about 2 in the tank.
Okay.
If you do that, it doesn't matter if the stack says 56 or if it says 106. It's the same thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like a meta way of viewing training, but it's totally true.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little more scientific about it. Like I usually
analytical about it.
Yeah, my progressive overload consists of every workout is a 1 rep increase until I get to a rep range that I want to go back down and then increase the weight.
So then we can, if you're looking for another way to progress it, put it down 2 slots in your training program. Do it the 4th exercise instead of the 2nd.
Oh my word, I've never thought about that because you're more fatigued.
Yep. And then
I usually stress about making sure I have the same order so that I don't worry. But you can strategically use that as a form of overload.
Yep. I guess that would be a reduction in load, but you're technically overstimulating the squats.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then after that meso, you go to, now this is back at the 1 spot.
Yeah.
And then boom, you hit a 30-pound PR in squats.
Dude, that just blew my mind. It's never occurred to me to switch up the order on purpose for that reason. I'm usually pretty careful to do the same order so that I'm not messing up my lifts.
Yeah. With the analytical stance that you take on it then, what we were just talking about earlier is prep work. Pick the exercises that are going to make your squats feel great and then do them last in the program. Yeah. So if I have a client who we'll use hinging as an example because this is a really easy one, who really struggles and she just falls forward all the time. Yeah. Well, then we're going to do some hip stuff. We'll probably do something to shift her center of mass back even more. And then at the end of the workout, we'll do those RDLs and they'll feel really good.
Yeah. I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, what's up?
What hinging is the new bending your back when you're deadlifting. Everybody hinges when they squats nowadays. Nobody squats straight up and down. It's a lost art, right? What is the main reason why people hinge at their hips forward and it becomes a back exercise? That's where you hurt your back, right?
Yeah, I mean,
why do people?
So many different...
Is it an inadequate strength in your legs? Like, what is it?
It's just how you carry your center of mass. So it's how you carry your body weight. So if you're doing everything that's like shifted backwards. So if you are an overweight individual, or if you are, so let's say you are overweight. So let's say you have a big belly or something. It's pulling you forward, so you're gonna want to shift back.
Yep.
Okay, so you're constantly falling forward, so you're trying to shift back. Now we get into the squat, and you do that. Or let's even just say let's make it even easier, and let's say that they just have bad squat technique. So that's probably the better answer. So that bad squat technique, okay, maybe they have tight hips. Maybe they have tight ankles, which it might not even be. I do it in quotes because, like, this is, if they can't move their foot, their shin can't move forward. If their shin can't move forward, then they can't bend their knee. They can't bend their knee, how are they going to get depth?
So you don't believe in lack of ankle mobility?
I mean, no, that's a tough one. So yes and no. So I think it comes down to let's see how they move their feet. Let's see how they move their hips.
Yeah.
If they can't move their hips, they probably can't push their stuff forward. And if they can't push their body forward, well, then they can't bend their knee and their ankle can't move.
Okay. And that translates to compensating and leaning forward on your way up. When you lift, when you squat up, you hit that hinging.
That can even be head position. So if they go down more upright and stuff with their hips shoot up, they might just be looking down.
Okay.
If you look forward, you're probably going to pick your chest up some, and not even just picking your chest up some. You're going to shift your center of mass back, so then your hips don't shoot up.
Okay. So it's just bad technique. Most of the time, it's just bad squatting technique.
There's so many like reasons to be, but yeah, I mean, I would say I think the best answer would be technique. They don't know how to squat, and they probably have never done a front squat or a goblet squat.
Right.
So if they've never done either of those, they've never been able to stay upright.
To know what it feels like to do a squat upright and not hinged forward.
Because or even a counterbalance squat. So if we take a 10-pound plate and you just shove it away from you, you're going to shift back and you're going to be more upright because now you're stabilizing. It's just how they manage their body weight is pretty much the easiest answer is going to reflect in their lifts. I have a client who does the opposite, who can't hinge at all because she's had back issues her whole life, so she's here. So she's just constantly upright. When she picks something up, she drives her knees so far forward, so her squats look great. She's just so far forward that she can't shift back.
Yeah. Would it be valuable for people to like not even touch a barbell and learn how to back squat unless they've spent X amount of time doing these counterbalance forms of squat?
Yeah.
So they know what it's like to squat in an upright position.
Very rarely will I ever tell somebody to jump right to a back squat.
Yeah.
Unless they've been doing it for 5-10 years. So, for example, I had a girl who's going to do college. She's going to be a volleyball player. Trained with her for 2.5 months. She had back squats as a testing. We ran front squats. We showed her we ran front squats for, let's say, 6 out of 8 weeks. The last 2 weeks, we taught her how to back squat. Back squat looked beautiful.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've always heard like when you want to learn a movement, the best thing to do is to do that movement. And that doesn't sound true for like the major compound lifts, like even squatting especially.
I would say that's probably not true for a lot of things.
For most?
Yeah, I mean, even benching. So let's say you jump straight to a barbell for bench. It's completely unsupported. Like it's just a free motion, like you're just here. You don't know how to move your elbows. You don't know where everything should be. You want to know what probably a better option is? Go sit on the seated chest press for a month. Because then you're here. It's on a fixed pulley system. It's on a fixed machine. All you can do is press. Teach you, okay, scaps down, chest up. Here we go. This is your grip width. This is your grip width. This is how we're going to do it. Boom. And then you throw them on a barbell. And it's going to be meh, but it's probably going to look a lot better. Or maybe we do floor presses first.
Oh,
So we do floor presses first because it cuts the range of motion.
Yep.
And you can generate more force.
Do machines get a bad rap?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on who you ask. I think machines are great. You want to know how to build a ton of muscle? Go do only machines because you don't have to worry about stabilizing your body at all.
It's just tension on the muscle.
Literally. So a lot of my clients, and especially newer clients, I'll use the squats as another example. We'll teach them how to goblet squat, and we'll use it as a skill. So you're going to learn how to squat. Maybe they're using a 20 or a 30-pound weight. Now we're going to go send it on the leg press where you're doing 150 pounds. Versus if we like put machines in this like dark hole and we're never going to use them. Well, this lady now is only ever going to use 20-pound weights until she gets to 30, 40, 50.
I want to challenge that. Can I challenge that?
Sure.
Okay.
No.
So that lady, that person in their current muscular stage of development is only able to, that's like saying you can actually goblet squat more than that 20-pound weight. Like you can't do more than you're capable. So is it not the leverage in the machines, pulleys and gears and all that allows her to do the 120-pound leg press?
It's the fact that she doesn't have to stabilize her spine.
So it really is more tension on her.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
So
yeah, 100%.
I can kind of wrap my mind around that.
Why do you think there's guys who can load up 800 pounds on a leg press but can't squat 135?
And it's better for they're putting more work on their muscle by doing the leg press.
Oh, 100%.
Because
that's why your muscles get bigger, but you can lift less.
Yeah, because then you have you have to have good shoulder range of motion to get a bar on your back.
Yep.
You have to have good center of mass control, so I'm not just falling forward. I'm not just shifting back. They're not hinging a squat. I have to have good foot stability. I have to have good core. So then core might be a limiting factor.
Isn't there stabilizing musculature too that maybe isn't as developed if you're using machines?
Yeah, which I mean, you can use stabilizing musculature. I think it's just they just don't know how to squat. So like they might have tight hips because all they do is leg press, and maybe they only do half reps on a leg press. Yeah. But training is a
the balance and technique and skill. Then so like okay, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I take my clients. We're gonna do this, and this as skill exercise, and then we're gonna use a very similar machine, and then we're just gonna send it on these. Because look at the person who is 300 pounds and they're trying to lose 100 pounds. They're probably so stiff because they sit so often that their squat will only be 20 pounds. But they've been walking around with 300 pounds on their skeleton. Throw them on a leg press, they're probably doing 250 already.
Right.
Which do you think is going to be better?
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. That's such a mind bender, though. Yeah.
I think it's because we were taught that, and it depends on like what camp you come from. If you talk to a bodybuilder, they'll say, yeah, I'm never going to barbell squat. I'm only going to hack squat. Right. You talk to a power lifter and they're going to be like, yeah, I don't need a hack squat at all. I'm only going to barbell squat.
Right. Yep. Yeah. The debate will never end.
No, but I think training is training, man. And you're just moving your body through these, you're putting certain stimulus onto your body that you are trying to gain an adaptation from and get better at certain movements. Yeah. That's all training is. Yeah. Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Look, man, I have so many more questions.
Yeah, will you come back on?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Would you come back on sometime? Yeah. Okay, because I had some ideas for doing some like rapid fire.
All right, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. Because that's anything, there's no explanation needed, right? Yeah, for anything in health and fitness. Also, it would be fun to maybe go over some viral clips and stuff like that on there.
Yeah, dude.
Kind of goof around with that.
Yeah, let's do that.
A little Lane Norton style. What the fitness?
Yeah,
you watch those at all?
Yeah, yes, I have seen those. Yeah. Have you ever seen the guy who's like, who's benching, he like benches it like an inch? They're like, the wicked bench arch, which actually the USAPL came up with a way to get around that. So your elbow actually has to drop below 90. Okay, yeah. Well, that would only make sense.
How did they come up with a way to get around their own rule? Just change the rule. No more back arching.
That was the. What do you mean? Like, why would you not want to arch your back? So look at it this way.
Keep your back on the bench.
Why? So the whole goal
doesn't happen.
The whole goal in powerlifting though is to lift the most amount of weight. That's why people pull sumo.
Yeah, but what counts as a lift?
At what cost?
So that's why they came up with this rule because it got so controversial.
Okay. Right,
it's like, hey, your elbow actually has to come past 90.
Yep.
Okay.
And that was only implemented like last year.
That's so wild.
And they took off the rule of having to keep your head on the bench.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't talk a lot about benching. I'd like to talk more about benching.
I suck at benching, so I don't want
I doubt
we'll get Cameron in here. Cameron's
honestly, get him in here.
Okay, before we go, first of all, thanks so much for coming. This was a blast.
Yeah,
we really had a great time having you, and we'd love to have you on, anytime. 100%. If people could take one takeaway from this, what would you want them to take away?
Just start moving more. Start training. Go to the gym. Even ask questions to the people there. Even if it's just the front counter staff, they probably know a little bit. I know our front counter staff trains. So, I mean, they'll be able to answer some questions. Just go get a gym membership. Go to the gym. It's not intimidating. It might be at first, but everybody's super nice there. One of the biggest compliments that I've gotten about Double Play is that it feels way more like an atmosphere, like a family atmosphere. It's not intimidating. You can go there. Everybody's talking to everybody. Everybody knows a ton of people. We're having conversation. It's fun. Just go and eat your vegetables.
Nice. Move.
What Mom used to say.
Move more and eat your vegetables. So there's some ancient wisdom there.
Your protein, yes.
Cool,
That'll
man.
Probably be the biggest takeaway.
Awesome. Sam, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, dude. Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to having you on again.
It's been fun.
All right. Thanks, folks. Hope you got something. We'll see you next time.
Peace.